After decades of hardship since its independence, Bangladesh has gone against all odds to become the richest country in South Asia. How the nation achieved remarkable economic growth over the years with non-existing natural resources to build wealth upon has left several nations curious as they watch in shock. How did Bangladesh accomplish its growth despite the unfavorable circumstances that surrounded the country? What are their achievements so far? Join us as we explore the major accomplishments and secrets behind Bangladesh's success story. Despite being termed a peaceful resolution, Bangladesh's successful independence from what was then known as West Pakistan did not go without a cost. This movement left violence and destruction in its wake, with over 3 million Bangladeshis' lives affected and several properties destroyed. The war that ensued also led to the destruction of major economic infrastructure, leaving the nation with no choice but to start building from scratch. Years after Bangladesh's independence, the nation was left in ruins by one of the deadliest tropical cyclones ever recorded in the world. This terrible event took place on April 22, 1991, leaving the country with an average life expectancy of 26 years and a child mortality rate surpassing 37%. The challenges faced by this nation were beyond these statistics alone. Bangladesh also lacked important natural resources because it was consistently faced with extremely destructive natural disasters. Moreover, enduring political instability that was marked by violence. This led many to believe that Bangladesh was fated to be eternally associated with poverty and hardship, earning it the unfavorable designation of an international basket case. In a remarkable turn of events and despite the hardship that they faced over the last 30 years, Bangladesh has achieved unexpected improvements and growth in global quality of life indicators. The life expectancy of this country has increased by 180%, and the death rate from tropical cyclones has also significantly dropped by 100-fold. The poverty rate, which was once at 80%, has also dropped to less than 19%, while child mortality has seen a remarkable reduction of 92%. The nation's economy has become one of the world's fastest growing, with a GDP per capita now nearly 50% higher than Pakistan's, overtaking even India in 2019. Bangladesh aspires to have a high income status by 2041, raising questions about whether this extraordinary progress is a genuine economic miracle or a temporary illusion. How did this happen? After Sheikh Mujibur, the politician that led the independence movement of the nation, returned to Bangladesh in early 1972, he faced several challenges concerning the development of this nation. After enduring the liberation war as a political prisoner, he, as the leader of the Awami League, took the responsibility of repairing the nation upon himself. He was tasked with rebuilding the destroyed infrastructure, establishing political institutions, and initiating rapid economic development. Mujibur had to achieve this with non-existent resources. But despite his efforts, things got complicated. The alliance force that had united against Pakistan scattered into factions and contending for economic and political control. In the face of the increasing political instability, Mujibur and the Awami League prioritized party loyalty over merit when they appointed officials as a strategy to secure the weak hold they had on political power. This plan, alongside the harsh reality that many qualified individuals had been eliminated during the war, left the initial government in a lot of confusion in implementing policies that would be effective in the development of the nation. This decision led the government toward a socialist economic system, leading to the state taking control of banking, insurance sectors, and 92% of industries. The remaining private sector faced heavy regulations, import restrictions, and profit caps. Additionally, foreign investment was prohibited unless in partnership with the government. These measures marked a significant shift in economic policy that shaped Bangladesh's development. Unfortunately, the state-controlled economy was poorly managed, and as a result, it experienced a sharp decline. Within just 3 years, the industrial output decreased by 66% due to inefficiencies. Agricultural output, vital to the majority's income, suffered as farmers were made to sell their products at extremely low prices with little or no gain. And this made the economy decline even further. This approach impacted negatively on the economy's structure, leaving both industries and agriculture struggling. The adverse consequences highlighted the disadvantages of the economic policies that were implemented. which emphasized the importance of a balanced and well-thought-out approach for sustainable development. Foreign investors were put off by Bangladesh due to slow bureaucracy, not enough physical infrastructure, unreliable energy, low worker productivity, high business costs, and widespread corruption. In Transparency International's ranking, Bangladesh is at 147th place, falling 4 spots from 2010, positioned between Madagascar and Nigeria. In a desperate attempt to maintain control, Sheikh Mujibur Rahman established his paramilitary force, engaging in torture against opposition members and intimidating the population. He dissolved political parties, silenced independent press, implemented martial law, and fervently pursued a socialist state. By 1975, Bangladesh transformed into a one-party, totalitarian, socialist regime. However, this regime's tenure was short-lived. In August of the same year, a violent military coup unfolded, resulting in the assassination of Mujib and his extended family. Fortunately, his daughters, Sheikh Hasina and Sheikh Rihanna, were abroad during the coup and survived. The coup threw Bangladesh into chaos. The new military regime struggled to govern effectively, leading to economic decline. With a lack of effective economic strategies, Bangladesh entered a period of political instability marked by numerous coup attempts. In 1981, General Hussain Mohammad Ershid seized control of Bangladesh in a bloodless coup. Unlike Mujib, Ershid aimed to stabilize the country and implement economic reforms. He implemented policies that attracted foreign investment, including tax incentives and tariff reductions. Ershid also initiated the privatization of state-owned enterprises and economic liberalization. While Ershid's economic policies faced criticism for favoring specific business interests, they did contribute to some economic growth. However, political opposition and public discontent grew, leading to mass protests in the late 1980s. Under mounting pressure, Ershid resigned in 1990, marking the end of military rule. Subsequent years witnessed a return to democratic governance, with political power shifting between the Bangladesh Awami League and the Bangladesh Nationalist Party. The early 1990s continued with its economic liberalization efforts, with successive governments implementing reforms that would attract foreign investment and promote export-led growth. The garment industry became a focal point of economic development. The ready-made garment sector also experienced a rapid expansion that was driven by factors such as low costs of labor, a sizable and affordable workforce, and preferential trade agreements with developed countries. Foreign investors, especially from East Asian nations, flocked to Bangladesh to capitalize on these conditions. The government actively supported the garment industry, offering incentives and building a conducive environment for growth. This led to a notable increment in exports, making the RMG sector a vital aspect of Bangladesh's economy. By early 2000s, Bangladesh had already established itself as a major player in the global garment industry. The sector significantly contributed to the country's export earnings and provided employment opportunities, particularly for women. Even though Bangladesh does really well in making clothes, relying on just one thing for most money is risky. To keep growing in today's world, Bangladesh has to make other sectors competitive too. They're trying to add new things like light engineering, plastics, leather, and shoes to what they sell. But to sell globally, companies need to meet international standards. Bangladesh used to have a bigger part of its money coming from exports, but it dropped from 20% in 2012 to 12%. This is much less than what Vietnam has. Also, the economic complexity, which looks at how good a country is at making things, went down from 77 in 1991 to 101 in 2021. In comparison, India is at 41 and Vietnam is at 54. This might be due to the tragic incident of Rana Plaza, an 8-story building that housed 5 garment factories on the outskirts of Dhaka, collapsed in about 90 seconds, killing 1,134 workers. This was a major turning point in the Bangladesh garment industry. It led to widespread protests and calls for better safety standards. In addition to the growth experienced by this nation, there was also an improvement in literacy and education sector and indirectly contributed to the development of Bangladesh and fostered international trade. The country's citizens became more educated and skilled, which has led to the development of a highly trained workforce. This educated labor force has driven growth in manufacturing and technology industries. The national education policy that was introduced in 2010 was an important decision that ensured universal access to primary education and elevating standards. This move was recognized by the World Bank because primary school enrollment increased to nearly 98% by 2020, with more girls enrolled than boys. The government also invested in science and technology education to create a knowledgeable workforce for economic development. UNESCO reports an increase in the rate of literacy from 47.9% in 2000 to over 74% in 2020, highlighting the success of the government's efforts. This educational progress was in line with the economic growth in Bangladesh, creating a skilled labor force and expansion in manufacturing and technology. Improved economic standing, innovation, and increased contributions to GDP suggest Bangladesh is on the path to becoming South Asia's wealthiest nation. The improved economic status achieved through education empowers the people to innovate, start new businesses, and contribute to the nation's GDP growth. Beyond enhancing the quality of life for many Bangladeshis, the increased focus on literacy and education has ignited economic growth, positioning Bangladesh on a potential path to becoming the wealthiest country in South Asia. And despite the challenges it faced, Bangladesh continued its economic development, experiencing steady growth in gross domestic product and progress in human development indicators. Poverty rates declined, literacy rates improved, and the country achieved advancements in healthcare and education. In recent years, Bangladesh has diversified its economy beyond the garment sector, focusing on information technology, pharmaceuticals, and remittances from overseas workers. Ongoing efforts to improve infrastructure, enhance business competitiveness, and attract foreign investment reflects the nation's commitment to sustained development. The government's actions are important in achieving long-term development goals in Bangladesh. The Bangladesh Bank laid emphasis on the fact that the country's agricultural policy is a basic part of its development plan. The government also implemented strategies that would boost the productivity of agriculture by providing financial support, discounted fertilizers, and innovative farming methods. Bangladesh now produces almost all its food, with an output of over 36.4 million metric tons in 2020. The Bangladesh Bureau of Statistics emphasized on the positive impact of prudent fiscal and monetary policies on macroeconomic stability, contributing to an average annual GDP growth rate of around 6% over the past decade. Nevertheless, Bangladesh still faces several challenges, including political instability, corruption, environmental vulnerabilities, but its accomplishments over the years lays emphasis on the determination of its people and the government to further develop the nation and make it the richest and most productive in South Asia. Making financial services more accessible is crucial in today's digital era. Bangladesh has been a leader in this, introducing microfinance, mobile banking, and agent-based services. The government encourages lending to small businesses and women entrepreneurs, requiring banks to open branches in rural areas. These efforts increase bank accounts and credit for women-run businesses, along with more women entrepreneurs and active mobile money accounts. The upcoming National Financial Inclusion Strategy aims to continue this progress. To sustain it, Bangladesh must invest in more productive areas, build more infrastructure, strengthen the banking sector, and address economic challenges caused by inadequate policies, weak governance, and a lack of reform initiatives. Thanks for watching. While you're still here, click on the link appearing on your screen to watch another of our interesting videos. See you there.